Billie Holiday, jazz singer, rock and roll Hall of Famer, icon. Ariel Swartley would write, Billie Holiday didn't just sing a song, she took possession of it. Playing her songs, the warmth of God-given vocal cords would lead to some of the greatest artists of their time to emulate the originator. Etta James, Nina Simone, and Janis Joplin, just to name a few. Her life, the inverse of living on Easy Street.
She had grown up in segregated Baltimore and she had promised herself she would never bow her head to any white man.
She was practically abandoned by her mother, had been R-worded at 11, and arrested for prostitution at 14. She'd be sent to Welfare Island in New York and be placed in a workhouse. She discovered the club jazz scene there and developed as a performer. There, young Holiday was spotted by a music producer, cut her first record at just 18, and would go on to star in movies. On tour, she was barred from staying in hotels. Thus, black families in respective towns took her in. She could not sit and eat at restaurants, forced to the back of the establishment. Ditto with bathrooms, ditto with elevators. At Cafe Society, the first integrated club in New York City, she was approached by Abel Maripol, a lyricist who penned more than 200 songs. Maripol, a former communist, union activist, and English teacher from the Bronx, was inspired to write songs that condemned America's war on minorities, the racial violence it enabled, and Jim Crow. Via PBS, Maripol and his wife Anne are also notable because they adopted Robert and Michael Rosenberg, the orphan children of the executed communists Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. The song he requested Billie sing, Strange Fruits, a track that would put fear into white supremacy and go on to resonate for decades. Maripol would see the tragedy that took place in Marion, Indiana on August 7, 1930. 3 black teens named Tom Shipp, James Cameron, and Abe Smith were held in jail for a murder and R-word without proof of the crimes. Prior to trial, a white supremacist mob grabbed them from their cells, beat them, mutilated them, and lynched Shipp and Smith. The photo would be printed, showing the lifeless bodies of Shipp and Smith hanging from a tree as the white mob appeared joyous. The Equal Justice Initiative would report when the sheriff eventually cut the ropes off the corpses, the crowd would rush forward to take parts of the men's bodies as souvenirs before finally dispersing. James Cameron would survive, but be badly beaten. There would be charges brought against some who led the lynchings, but an all-white jury acquitted the culprits, as the EJI states, despite this overwhelming evidence. Cameron would serve 4 years in prison. The woman who claimed to be R-worded, Mary Ball, would testify she was not R-worded. Although at first reluctant, Holiday would grow more cozy with performing Strange Fruit, and eventually closed each and every show out with that song. Then came her record label Columbia. They saw the risk and forbade its recording. Thus Holiday acted, taking it to Commodore Records, an independent label. Fun fact, the label was run by a progressive rock music shop owner named Milt Gabler, the uncle of famed comedian Billy Crystal. On Columbia ixnaying the idea, the thought was a deep fear of losing their audiences in the South. The song would sell 1 million copies. Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the popular trees, Holiday sang in her renowned voice. It continued, pastoral scene of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of the magnolia and fresh, then the sudden smell of burning flesh. Concluding in the third stanza, here is the fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, for the tree to drop. Here is a strange and bitter crop.
The thing about Strange Fruit that I think is so important for people to understand, it's not a dirge, it's not a mournful song, it's an attack song. It's an attack against the perpetrators of lynching. And as such, it is extremely powerful, and it's why it was banned, it's why it caused riots, it's why it helped destroy Billie Holiday's life.
In fact, Billie Holiday said each time she sang that song, she had to go in the bathroom and throw up afterwards.
This song, wrote PBS's Joel Katz, was quickly adopted as the anthem for the anti-lynching movement. Journalist Vernon Jarrett recalled the time he heard Holiday sing it in 1947 and said she was singing the song as though this was for real, as though she had just witnessed a lynching. Jazz critic Leonard Feather called it, quote, the first significant protest in words and music, the first unmuted cry against racism. Ahmet Erdogan, a longtime record producer, stated the song was, quote, the declaration of war, the beginning of the civil rights movement. Via PBS, the rendition irked the conservative U.S. government at a time when it was starting to crack down on suspected communists in the entertainment industry and beyond. The response was swift, especially once the racist Federal Bureau of Narcotics Commissioner Harry Anslinger decided to make it his mission to destroy the singer and shut down her message about segregation and racism. On Anslinger?
Federal Bureau of Narcotics was run by a man called Harry Anslinger, who I think is the most influential person who no one's ever heard of. Harry Anslinger takes over the Department of Prohibition just as alcohol prohibition is ending. And he's really driven by two passions: an intense hatred of African Americans. I mean, this is a guy who was regarded as a crazy racist by the crazy racists in the 1930s. He used the N-word in official police reports so often that his senator said he should have to resign. And a really strong hatred of addicts. And Billie Holiday to him was like the symbol of everything that was going wrong in America.
Thus he did the following. Upon Anslinger's request, she cease its performance, which she refused. Anslinger had his own agent sell her drugs to frame her. Holiday would be stripped of her performer's license. Her nightclub career abruptly ended.
She's in her early 40s. She collapses here in New York City. She's taken to hospital, and she's convinced the narcotics agents aren't finished with her. And she was right. She says to one of her friends, they're going to kill me in there. Don't let them. They're going to kill me. She was right. In a hospital bed, she's diagnosed with liver cancer. I spoke to the only surviving person who was still in that room, who'd been in that room. She's handcuffed to the bed. They take away her record player and her candies. They don't let her friends in to see her. One of her friends manages to insist to the doctors they give her methadone because she'd gone into withdrawal. She starts to recover a little bit. 10 days later, they cut off the methadone. She dies.
From Katz once more, the tale of strange fruit, its genesis, impact, and continuing relevance is an amazingly complex one that weaves together the lives of African Americans, immigrant Jews, anti-communist government officials, civil rights leaders, radical leftist teachers and organizers, music publishers, record company executives, and jazz musicians. In many ways, the story of the song and its writer and interpreters is as moving and oddly haunting as the song itself. Lastly, a quick shout out to all of you guys for the recommendation for Strange Fruits on our past video of Nina Simone. If you have not seen it, check it out on demand. And all that is to say, I appreciate each and every person commenting and letting us know what you would like us to cover next. And I ask it once again, leave a comment down below on a political/protest song that you would like to see a deep dive of. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.